So you're expecting twins. First of all, congratulations. It's a journey that's absolutely one of a kind, filled with double the excitement, double the questions, and yeah, let's be honest, sometimes double the worry. Today, we're going to walk through a guide to help you navigate your pregnancy and those first wild few weeks. Let's dive in. And if you feel like this, you are not alone. That moment you see two little heartbeats on the ultrasound is a complete roller coaster, right? It's thrilling, but it can also be a little terrifying. The whole point of this explainer is to give you a clear, reassuring roadmap so you can turn that uncertainty into confidence. We've broken it all down into 6 key parts. We'll kick things off with how a twin pregnancy even starts. Then we'll follow their development, get you ready for birth, cover what happens when they arrive, talk about the reality of caring for 2 newborns, and wrap up with the most important part, building your support system. All right, let's get into it. First up, the double miracle itself. It's fascinating, really, how this whole journey can start in 2 very different ways. So what's the deal here? Well, fraternal twins are the most common. Basically, 2 separate eggs were fertilized by 2 separate sperm. You can think of them as siblings who just happen to be womb mates. Now, identical twins, that's a different story. They come from a single fertilized egg that decides to split into 2. That's why they share the exact same DNA and are always the same gender. Okay, so now let's take a peek inside the womb. This is section 2, their amazing journey, where we'll see what goes on in their very first and, pretty crowded home. The way twins develop is pretty similar to a single baby, just with a few tweaks. By just 8 weeks, all their major organs are starting to form. And get this, at 20 weeks, they can actually hear you. Then, around 26 weeks, things start getting a little snug in there, so their growth might slow down a bit. By 32 weeks, they're practicing their breathing, and at 36, those lungs are good to go. This is just incredible. You can start bonding with them so early. At 20 weeks, they know your voice. A few weeks later, they're reacting to sounds by moving around. So go for it. Talk to them, sing to them, read them a story. They are literally your first audience. And all that growing brings us to the home stretch. Section 3, getting ready for birth. As you get closer to the big day, the game plan looks a little different with twins. Here's a number you'll want to remember. 36 weeks. You see, a full-term pregnancy for one baby is 40 weeks, but for twins, the average is 36. They just tend to show up a bit earlier. Why? Well, it gets pretty crowded in there, and that can kickstart labor. It's totally normal, and it's something your medical team is completely prepared for. Because they might arrive early, a hospital birth is almost always the way to go. During labor, the team will use extra monitoring, which is really just a way to keep a super close eye on both babies' heartbeats. And depending on how they're positioned or if they're sharing a placenta, a C-section might be the safest route. Just know that all of this is standard stuff to make sure your babies have a safe and sound arrival. And they're here, section 4. Welcome to the world. Let's talk about what to expect in those first few amazing, and let's be real, totally exhausting days. Okay, it's really important to be ready for the possibility that your twins might need a little extra TLC when they're born. Because they're often a bit early or smaller, a short stay in a special care unit is pretty common. Try not to see it as something to worry about. It's really just giving them the absolute best start to life. And speaking of the best start, nature gives you the perfect first food, colostrum. People call this stuff liquid gold for a reason. It is packed with everything your babies need to get strong and healthy, especially if they're a little premature. It's like their first super-powered meal. All right, you made it home. Now for the fun part. Section 5, taking care of 2 newborns. This is where we get into the practical, day-to-day stuff of mastering this new double act. This has to be the #1 question on the mind of pretty much every new twin mom, right? The very idea of feeding 2 tiny humans can feel, well, impossible. So really, is there going to be enough? The answer, as this mom puts it so perfectly, is a huge yes. Your body is incredibly smart. It works on supply and demand. The more your babies feed, the more milk you make. Your body gets the order for 2, and it delivers for 2. It's amazing. And to make feeding 2 at once a little easier, there are a few go-to techniques. The rugby hold is a classic. You tuck a baby under each arm. You can also mix and match holds. Honestly, it's all about playing around and finding what feels most comfortable for you and your babies. A little bit of prep can be a lifesaver. So here are some pro tips from twin parents who've been there. Have diapers and wipes on every floor of your house. Cook twice as much as you need and freeze half. And you do not need to bathe them every day. A few times a week is perfect. Oh, and try to get later doctor's appointments to avoid that morning chaos. The name of the game is finding a routine that works for you. But here is the thing. This is probably the biggest takeaway of all. You do not have to do this by yourself. Which brings us to our last and most important section. You are not alone. Think of your support system as your superpower. Your partner, your family, your friends, they're your first line of defense. And I'm telling you, connecting with other twin parents is a game changer. They just get it. And don't forget the professionals. Your doctor or GP and other health experts are there to help you every step of the way. Look, there are going to be moments when it feels like a lot. Of course there will be. But it's also going to be filled with twice the love and twice the amazing moments. When you arm yourself with good information, get prepared, and most importantly, lean on your people, you won't just survive. You will absolutely thrive. So I'll leave you with this. People always say it's a marathon, not a sprint, and they are so right. And every single marathon runner needs a support crew. So take a minute right now and think, who's on your team? Start building it now. Your future self will be so glad you did.